Well, welcome everyone to the 2020 Town of St. Andrews Community Awards. This is a program that's gone on for many years, but it is now seemingly evolving somewhat. A little bit different than it was when it started, but the fundamentals are still the most important thing, that this is a program where members of the community nominate their fellow members of the community for the work that they've done as volunteers in their community. So this is still the way it is, but the COVID-19 pandemic and our reaction to it really has featured prominently in the awards this year, and I'm very thankful for that, because very many members of our community that probably are not going to be recognized here today should be publicly recognized for all of the kindness that we showed to each other during the darkest days of dealing with the first wave of the pandemic. And we've come out at the other end primarily, or almost intact, and we're very hopeful that by being diligent and not backsliding and to do what we need to do still, that we won't go through another phase of this. So I'm of course an eternal optimist, but you heard it here first. We're fighting very hard not to go through this again. So we're going to go forward with the awards, as I indicated. And the first person to receive an award today is Corporal Jason Hansen of the RCMP. Jason, if you could come forward. Welcome, Jason, and thank you for being here. And the truck goes. Corporal Jason Hansen has served the St. Andrews Detachment of the RCMP since June 1st, 2012. During these years, he has proven himself to be a trusted and valued member of the community and a policeman whom everyone in St. Andrews trusts and is happy to know. Corporal Hansen is highly visible in the community, whether it be volunteering at the local bike rodeo, directing traffic during the triathlon on Father's Day or the Father's Day road race, working with youth, or leading the Canada Day Parade. Corporal Hansen and his wife have chosen to settle in St. Andrews and make this place their home, and we are fortunate to have them as active members of our community. Policing has clearly evolved a great deal over the past few years, and we appreciate the commitment of officers who choose to stay and become part of our community when new opportunities and postings seem fairly easy to obtain. Corporal Hansen is a seasoned officer who clearly cherishes the value of hard work, professionalism, and honors the uniform he puts on each day. He clearly reflects the core values of the RCMP, values which include integrity, honesty, professionalism, compassion, respect, and accountability. The town of St. Andrews is pleased to honor Corporal Hansen with a Community Service Award and thank him for all his hard work and dedication over the past 8 years. Corporal Hansen?
Thank you.
Probably want to see you on TV there with that.
Thank you. To say a few words here.
No, you don't need to, but you can after. The next award is for Holly Johnson. Holly? I'm going to talk about Holly a little bit anyway, and we will get her award to her since she isn't here at the moment. Holly Johnson, and these words for the most part are taken directly from the nomination documents that were submitted for the awards by the nominators. And this one said as follows: the kind, generous, smart, and super busy Holly Johnson. With her customary grace, humor, and respect, Holly has been providing her services to the community through the Open Door Food Bank. I'd just like to add something to that, and I hear on the street that Holly Johnson is one of the most self-effacing and quietest and unassuming people, and does this all from the bottom of her heart. So my compliments to Holly, and we will get her award to her. Next we will go to CHCO-TV, Vicki Hogarth and Patrick Watt. Nominated for a volunteer award for their excellent and untiring community TV production that brings our community of St. Andrews to TV viewers in our community, around the province of New Brunswick, Canada, and social media platforms. Especially during the COVID-19 pandemic, they have done an excellent job of covering the news, often better than the large commercial TV productions. We also appreciate that they stepped up to the plate and brought community church services to the TV when attendance at the churches was banned due to the restrictions. They have supported nonprofit and charitable organizations of the community and produced professional quality programming on a shoestring budget. We hear from our family across Canada, from Vancouver to Newfoundland, who have been able to view their production and learn about our little town. This community TV station, the only independent community TV station in New Brunswick, has excelled for years and done an excellent job doing it. Make sure Patrick gets your picture there on TV. Next, I'm going to turn to the Kiwanis Club of St. Andrews. We believe that the Kiwanis Club of St. Andrews deserves thanks and an appreciation award for all their community support, especially for their assistance to residents of our town during the first few months of the COVID-19 pandemic. Their members willingly delivered groceries and other supplies to those who were unable to get out themselves. We would also like to praise the Kiwanis for their continuing effort to create and improve the trail system in and around St. Andrews, and for their work bringing Katie's Cove back to life. This award is not just for the Kiwanis Club, but for all the volunteers that participated in the COVID-19 responses with deliveries and phone calls to those in isolation. There were over 60 volunteers that participated, and without their support, this initiative would not have been a success. Congratulations. Make sure you get your picture there.
I'm Paul Delaney. I'm the president-elect. I just wanted to say, though,
Here, Paul.
we should acknowledge Guy Giroux, because Guy was the real initiative and driving force behind what got the whole community going.
If you don't mind, I'll mention that right now.
Perfect.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul. Yeah. That the suggestion has made that we give some honorable mention here to Guy Giroux, Councillor Guy Giroux, who also acted on behalf of council, but also on behalf of the Kiwanis Club, and was a very tireless worker organizing all of this and taking part in it throughout the time it happened. And I think particularly the Kiwanis Club and all the volunteers, and I didn't mean to suggest that every volunteer that volunteered was or had to be a member of the Kiwanis Club. There were lots of people who volunteered to the leadership of the Kiwanis Club and the leadership of our town staff that helped to organize all of this. But in fact, one of the most important things we did that I don't think happened in very many places was the check-in program for those that felt vulnerable and felt isolated in their homes, even though they were receiving supplies. And the call-in program, I think, was extremely beneficial for some people who, some of us liked being isolated, like me, but many people did not and had a much more difficult time with it, and that helped immensely. So thanks to the Kiwanis Club. We'll next move to Sue Corbin.
Come on up, Sue.
Hi, Sue. Don't be nervous. Sue has been an active member of the board of directors for the Passamaquoddy Lodge for the past 9 years, taking a leadership role on the executive for 7 of them as secretary-treasurer and as vice president. Sue is a devoted supporter for Meals on Wheels, delivering meals to residents of the community every week for the past 15 years. In addition to these roles, Sue is one of the moving forces behind the Age-Friendly Community Initiatives and sits on the town's Age-Friendly Community Advisory Committee. She continues to promote the recommendations in the Age-Friendly Community Report for improvements to the lives of people in St. Andrews and the surrounding area. Sue embodies volunteerism in her dedication to these initiatives and her selfless support of quality of life for all ages in St. Andrews. Sue, make sure you get on TV there to look at Patrick. Yes. Robin Burton. Robin served for many years in positions of responsibilities, helping revive the fortunes of Ministers Island, and then in October 2018 offered to help with the board of the Charlotte County Archives. Attending her first meeting of the board as a guest, she immediately offered her services for fundraising and business development. Soon she became the treasurer and involved in many other ways as part of the archives. The volunteer board was in serious need of professional level help, and Robin brought her experience and expertise from a career managing large retail organizations to bear on the somewhat chaotic situation at the archives office. Within a short time, Robin established order and coherence in all the accounting matters and was soon the de facto office manager running an efficient office. She then broadened her purview to make significant changes in the wide range of archives activities, from branding and fundraising to enhancing visitor experience to rationalizing the system in research library and to recruiting students and staff and improving the standards of accessioning across the board. Robin? There you go, Robin. You're welcome. Pat Barker. Pat participated in the Day for the Ages session held by the Age-Friendly Community Committee to highlight many of the areas where communities can encourage social participation and activities. Pat suggested at the time that perhaps St. Andrews was ready for dragon boating, an activity for people of all ages and abilities. Pat pursued her dream for St. Andrews, leading a group to find a boat and raise the necessary funds, resulting in the purchase of a dragon boat and equipment, formation of the St. Andrews Paddling Club in 2019. The dragon boat was introduced at Paddlefest 2019. With more than 35 members in its inaugural year, from 12 to 80 years of age plus, this initiative was a tremendous success. In 2020, the club has added a stand-up paddleboarding to its fleet. The best is yet to come. None of this would have happened without Pat's belief that this community would welcome this sport, and her leadership and enthusiasm in sharing her love of the sport through her coaching. Pat? Thank you and congratulations.
Thanks very much.
Wonderful.
Thanks.
Franklin Cardy. Franklin Cardy, as chairman of the board of Charlotte County Archives, Franklin has the responsibility for overseeing the operations of the board and its management, always working thoughtfully, capably, and energetically, setting a high standard for the board, staff members, volunteers, and archive members. Franklin also has roles with the Kiwanis Club and Meals on Wheels. Franklin has curated, edited, and produced video footage that collectively tells and preserves the story of St. Andrews between 1938 and 1960, from special moments mainly filmed by W.C. Bill O'Neill and some by Lee Williamson. These films show a fascinating view of life and events in St. Andrews around 80 years ago. Franklin? Congratulations.
Thank you.
Make sure you get your picture on TV there. That's important to show the rest of our community. Christy Kennedy. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Christy was generous in her initiative in organizing and donating meals to those who were open and supporting the town during the dark spring of 2020. She gave delicious meals to those who work at the post office, drugstore, and independent grocery store. I am sure this gesture raised their spirits and brought together the community at a time when communication was difficult. Christy? You're very welcome. Get your picture on TV, make sure. Finally, we have a series of 3 special merit awards that were participated in by council and by me as mayor in selecting. And these are a little outside of what we normally have done in the past as volunteer awards, because many of these people are not strictly speaking volunteers, but they went so far and above the call of duty in doing their duties that they certainly are volunteers in our eyes and very important to our community. So I'm talking now about the management and staff of Joey's Independent Grocer, and the management and staff of Cockburn's Pharmacy, and the management and staff of the St. Andrews Home Hardware, who really were our places to shop during the darkest days of the pandemic response. Paul, can you bring those up? And I'll call first Joey's Independent Grocery, if somebody is here to represent. Wonderful. Hi. Hi, and thank you for being here. That's wonderful. And then make sure you get your picture. I always have to tell about pictures, eh? And you're very welcome. Thank you. And Cockburn's Independent, Cockburn's Pharmacy, pardon me. Cockburn's Pharmacy. And make sure you get your picture on TV. Okay. And St. Andrews Home Hardware. And I think that we might not have a rep here because it's a busy day at the hardware store. But we will make sure that this gets hand delivered. Mr. Knopper, who I also need to acknowledge, Paul Knopper, our town clerk and senior administrator, who has been really instrumental in assisting us. And I see Deputy Mayor Henderson there, and he came to the rescue from his day job to help us print these certificates when we had a blowout in our technology. So we're all here working together to acknowledge everyone. So great. Look, as I said earlier in my comments, I appreciate everyone being here today. It's very important, in my view, to recognize those people who make the difference in our community. And there are many, many more. So, and don't forget that these awards are not just things we ask for nominations a month before. Anyone can be nominated any time for these awards. So if something happens to you or you think of something, someone who is really deserving, please let us know at Town Hall, and we will take care of the rest. Thank you so much for being here. It's much appreciated.